I always heard.
That's the chief office.
Hi, how are you doing? Good, how are you? Good. Hey there. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thanks for being here today. We're on page 68 in your journals. And the journals are might be useful today. We're going to be sort of walking through a way of looking at the sort of ways that we show up in life. It might be something that's interesting to you to consider moving forward. And so how is it that we can come into balance in different ways of being? So today is our first unexam. So we're going to use this system that a writer has put in place to explain. So you might want to take some notes. Page 68. Well, Scott, maybe Morgan.
It is the other.
Maybe it's the maybe neither of them work today. Yep, sure do. Thanks. I'll do this. Okay, great. So the MSEEKs, the midterm evaluations for the class, are open now, and they're open through March 1st. I really value your feedback, especially here in the middle of this semester, so that I know how things are going. It's a great opportunity for us to do a check-in. So if you have a few minutes to give us some feedback, us being me and your TAs, please take some time to do the MSEEKs. And I get that feedback pretty quickly and then can incorporate your feedback into what happens for the rest of the semester. Of course, I always have other ways of giving me feedback if you need to do that too. So, for instance, I'll have office hours tomorrow as usual from 11 to 12. If anybody would like to come and hang out, if you can't make that time, then just email me and we set up a different time that we can meet up. So I appreciate the feedback. Thank you for taking time. So here we are in the first BiSci 3 unexam, because it seems as though a regular exam doesn't really fit the content of this course. So I'm curious about what is your association with exams? What is your association or experience with exams in other courses or throughout your life? Maybe you want to talk to your neighbor about that for a moment. What do exams do or not do for you? So what's your association with exams? Well, they're designed to be a measure, right? A measure of what you've taken in, what you've processed, what you will continue to hold as you move through your future, this information that's going to be useful to you. And so an exam is making sure it's a checkpoint of where that information is sitting within you, right? How you've taken it in, what you have learned. Is that your experience? That when you take an exam, that's the information that you're going to know forever? Yeah.
No, it's not.
No, say more.
Learning something. Learning effect both the hands-on experience, the years of failure and learning from that failure, the stuff in those exams you're never gonna learn. That's a little honest about.
Yeah, so exams don't quite hold it all, right? Thank you for saying so. So exams, he is explaining that exams mean also, actual learning is about experiencing and using the information, sometimes getting it wrong and then learning from that. Anybody else want to speak to exams? I guess my experience is that it's what I've put into my short-term memory that I'm going to spit out and write down. I'm sorry, did you have your hand up? I'm sorry.
Um, like sometimes.
I was gonna say for me, like I feel like sometimes exams feel like make or break. Like I just need to like learn the content just for the exam so like I can pass. And I'm constantly thinking like, oh, how much like is this like exam like worth for my grade? And if I don't perform well, like how much like is it gonna drop my grade? So I'd like just need to do good.
Just need to do good, right? Yes, thank you. So that's my experience too, is that it's more about the short-term memory and what I can spit back out onto the paper or into the computer for the person. So a traditional exam for BiSci 3 doesn't fit. So as we know, right, the lab circle, the place where you go to lab, this is our classroom, an opportunity to share. Exams also are a very solitary experience, but it's not very often these days that we are truly solitary, right? There's always information, there's always people to ask questions of, there's always information to be gained, to be read, to be gleaned from the internet. There's all these places where information can be gathered. And so life is not a solitary event. We've already learned that we are not solitary beings and that the communities that we build are so important and so key. So definitely an exam doesn't fit this class because we aren't solitary. You've got your lab group, we've got this room of people with all these different experiences and all of this wisdom, sharing stories, coming to understand ourselves within the contexts of community. So there's lots of experience in this room. And to have an exam doesn't fit. So today we're doing an unexam. An unexam. We can't physically sit in a circle like you do in lab, but we're going to sort of get that feel. What we're going for is that you are going to sort of think about this campfire setup, thinking about the idea that this is where our ancestors shared their stories. This was their primordial classroom where they shared information about their days. And by doing that, they learned from each other some very important information. So we are not independent, we are interdependent. So doing an unexam where we are all sharing stories with each other is really valuable. It fits this class better than any other way of being that I can think of. So it also fits because we are doing a lot of unlearning. When we think about unlearning, when we are shifting, we must be willing to sit on the edge of mystery and unlearn that which has helped guide us in the past, but is no longer useful. So beliefs get etched on us at very early ages. They come down from the very wise people in our lives, the teachers and the parents, and maybe religious leaders, those people that we trust most. And yet, what we need to figure out inside of ourselves is our beliefs, not just adopting things that other people believe and that are handed down to us. So we don't want to clear the slate and get rid of everything, but the idea is to reflect, to do that metacognition and think about what is my belief around this, not what's my dad's belief around this, what's my mom's belief around this, but what's my belief around this, and how am I going to move through the world with that belief? There are some times that beliefs don't serve us well. So the class that we missed way back in January was about origins. And the origins, if we think back to the stories that people experienced and the beliefs that people held. So does anybody know who this is? Poseidon. Yeah, I hear it up there. What's that? Or is it Zeus? Okay, it might be Zeus. I thought the trident was Poseidon. Poseidon. Okay, great. It's all good. So had me questioning my, okay, but that's important. I'm glad that you asked. So Poseidon, the god of the underworld, the god of the seas, right? And all of the things that he controlled. And the people that believed in these, the Greeks and Romans that believed in the god Poseidon and that he controlled all of this. And then science started to infiltrate, and we came to understand the pull of the moon on the tides. And there was more science and then less of Poseidon. Another example, thinking about the Persephone, she was the god of the underworld, or she was dragged into the underworld. And that's why winter came. And that's what people believe. These Greek and Roman goddesses and gods, there are a couple more. Will you click again? There we go. That's Vulcan. He's the god of volcanoes. And so he had his shop down under the volcanoes. And when he was upset, that's when the volcanoes would spew their fire. But then people started to understand, no, that's not Vulcan hanging out in the bottom of that volcano, right? There's something scientific here. The plates are shifting. And so the belief in Vulcan went away because we understood it in a different kind of way. People even understood love, the god of love, and how if you got shot with this arrow, then you would be falling in love, right? So understanding things about the world around us, and then also, yeah, one more, and also what's happening within us. But those are old beliefs. We don't believe in being shot by arrows anymore. And so understanding that, we have to understand our own set of parameters and ways of being. So history did not go gently away. It's a messy process when we are changing our stories, when we are abandoning things that we believed at one time that are no longer what we believe now. So how this relates is that we're going to practice some unlearning. We have been practicing unlearning those beliefs and shifting and creating our own ways of moving through the world. So here we are. This is where we're going to walk through some of the work of ecopsychologist Bill Plotkin. He uses the 4 directions to connect ways of being and parts of our lives. So the North that he describes is productive, responsible, decisive. Things that we need to do. Some of us believe that those are things that we need to do to be productive, responsible, decisive, to be successful in the world today. So in the 2008 book Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, he wrote that 10,000 hours is the magic number of greatness. That means that you become an elite, an expert at something after practicing it 10,000 hours. So that could be true of the sports. Think about the Olympics that have been going on. Those people are experts in their fields. They've been practicing and dedicating so much time. So thus far, kindergarten through 12th grade, you have spent about 16,000 hours in school. That means you're experts at school, right? More than experts. How does that show up? How does that, like the way you just described tests, pretty much lays out the way thinking about our education system. I need to get this information. It's going to affect my grade. I need to be able to replicate this information on the exam so that I can get the grade that I want, so that I can move ahead in life in the ways that I think that I should. So navigating your world, a significant portion of that has been about school. And so coming in here, where we sort of flip the school story, where the reflections in your journals are about you and about your life and about your beliefs and about making your stories understandable and part of all that you do. So it's been a different way. These last 6 weeks are learning a different way of education, going outside of those 16,000 expert hours. So if this has been a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit different for some reason, that's why. It's because you're used to doing something one way and we're doing it a bit differently here. So changing the story helps us to unlearn some things, helps us to see our beliefs. And it's also helping us to get a new, fresh look, right? Seeing with new eyes, getting a fresh look on what culture is and how our culture is set up. And so thinking about this, productive, responsible, decisive, are we being set up for success if those are the words that are associated with successful? Productive, responsible, decisive. What happens? Yeah, it just seems like there might be some things missing. So it's also trained us to be somewhat conforming and obedient and disengaged and more so consumers than citizens. So yep, what's missing? What's missing if we live just in this place of productive, responsible, and decisive? Take a moment and talk to your partner, and then we're going to have the microphone out. I wish there was more than one microphone.
I know.
Drives me crazy. Just teaching me patience.
Around the compass, or does it go to south next?
South is next. Yep.
So do you talk first and then the video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Just I'll introduce it and then let him do most of the talking. Yes, I think she's getting a little bit more comfortable, but that's why when she like hit the wrong button the other day, she's like, oh no. Oh, it is pressure. So what's missing if we live just in the north? I would love to hear from several people, at least one from each section. This is the spot where we get to be each other's teachers.
We were talking about how it depends on how you define the word success, because if you want career success, then those things are all like basically what you need. But I think it's really important to have balance in other areas of your life, because I know some people can have all those characteristics and be just fine, but for me and some of the people I know, if you don't have emotional balance and deeper personal connections, then you won't be able to be successful in any area of your life. So I think it's a lot more than just those characteristics, but those are definitely a really important basis to have success.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
We said that it doesn't really leave room for spontaneity or like creativity.
Spontaneity and creativity. Interesting. Yeah. Emotions, spontaneity, creativity. What else? Someone from the middle section. Yeah, great.
We said that you kind of need balance, and you need some type of emotional like intelligence when you go about things, because if you're just focusing on being productive and getting everything done the right way according to society, you're missing like the human connection and the part of the reason why um, human connection is so important.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Well said. Connection, emotional intelligence. Does anybody else? Yeah, great. There are a couple more folks over that way, Priyanka. Will you just raise your hand again for her? There she is.
I basically just said that like the three things like said are super important. I feel like that like defines like consistency. But also with that, like you have to make sure that you're doing other things like staying emotionally connected with like what you want to do. And I think that's just super important when like being successful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so success requires more than, yeah, thank you for saying that. I think there's somebody to your left there also. Hey, Priyanka, right in front of you.
I wanted to just say like leisure and relaxation, because like if you're just being productive the whole time, there's like no time to like relax and like avoid burnout.
Yeah, right. Some relaxation. So balance in a lot of different ways is what you're talking about. And I do think that that's really, really valuable and sometimes super hard to find in the culture that we live in, where the productive is so important, it seems. And yet we do lose steam and things get out of proportion. So we're going to move like we've already talked about all of our equipment, so our head, our hearts, and our guts. And so understanding that we are very capable human beings, right? We are beyond our wildest imaginings. We have these capacities for connection and relationship and balance. So let's look, we'll move to the south, connecting creativity, the awe-inspired. So what the folks over on this side brought up. So the South, celebrating and expressing awe is part of this. So wildness, where does wildness come into our circle? Wildness is this place of, well, we are animals, right? Wild animal. So the wildness we tend to hide right below our surface level. Yet it's part of what makes us human. So can you connect with your innate wildness? Can you access your spontaneity and your connection and your authenticity and your openness? Can you connect with something inside that's a little bit deeper and a little bit more wild? Howling at the moon, swimming naked in a rushing stream, sleeping under the stars, crying in public, singing until your heart is bursting with joy. See, this place where we can experience ourselves as fully and unabashedly human. So we're going to take in this video by Jason Silva and see what you think of this. We'll get some comments afterward.
Trying to figure out, probe the faint disquiet, the source of my ills. I've been on a quest, you might say, to try to understand what is holding me back. What continues to get in my way? What keeps me kicking and screaming, so to speak? What is this fear of being fully alive? I was reading Ernest Becker's book, The Denial of Death, in which he cited the work of psychologist Abraham Maslow and all of the steps towards self-actualization that human beings need to take. One of the things that he says is that we get a thrill from the godlike possibilities that we see in ourselves during our most perfect moments, yet we simultaneously shiver at those very same possibilities. There is a kind of terror of being fully alive. There is this fear of kind of quaking, annihilating glory. During our most perfect moments, when we feel the most connected, the most powerful, when we're actually in a state of surrender, when we let it all go, we take our hands off the wheel, the ecstasy is so great, we fear it will undo us. We fear we will not survive past the ecstasy. And so we shrink back from being fully alive. We shrink away from life, right? We shy away from the sunlight. We fear the intensity of unfiltered experience. And there is a name for this affliction. It's called Jonah syndrome, right? The fear of being fully alive, right? A shrinking away from the full intensity of life. It is the feeling that it is just too much, and I just can't take it. I will not surpass this ecstasy, this hilarity, this cosmic intensity, this ecstasy. And yet everything we want is on the other side of fear. We learn sometimes the hard way that everything we feared was all in our minds. I know for me, man, this is what often kept me from dancing at parties, or what keeps me from rock climbing up cliffs, or downhill mountain biking. I fear the intensity of life lived this close. And yet the greatest moments of my life, ironically, have been the ones in which, through maybe no fault of my own, I slipstreamed into those kinds of moments. When I hurled myself into the abyss, only then did I realize it was a feather bed. I was like, oh my God, I feel held. All is good. All is great. All is bliss and grace. So what have I learned from this? Have I transcended that gnawing self-doubt? Have I transcended my fears? Have I absolved myself of my neurosis? Far from it. Far from it. I've taken steps. I've come a long way. I've seen how far I've come, and yet the journey beckons. I haven't fully heeded. I feel myself often second guessing my decisions, stuck, not knowing where my path is at. And so, truth be told, I'm a work in progress. These fleeting insights of visionary understanding, these moments of clarity, they nudge me forward, right? They become the reference points, the anchor points, the tetherings of where I'm going, right? They become a kind of map. Follow your bliss, said Joseph Campbell. He was right. He was right. We'll get there together.
So take a moment and talk to your neighbor about this. What do you think about that? How do you feel about that? Will you advance the slide? He's so great, isn't he? No.
Fast he goes too.
Yes. Will you advance the slide for me? I also wonder if there might be new batteries somewhere. Maybe in this. Is that one open? As well try it while we have a moment. Got it. Okay. We'll see. Maybe or maybe not. Okay. We'll know in a minute.
There's a bunch.
Okay. So after you talk through the video, check out the question. What ways are you experimenting with this? What do y'all want to say about that? The South. Again, it'd be sweet to hear from somebody from each section.
It's something I continue to work on. As the guy in the video said, it's, I'm a work in progress, as am I. I find myself, creating fake scenarios in my head that things are just in my mind. And I've begun to realize that a lot of these outcomes that I picture in my mind can actually happen. And I've started to embrace the unknown because once I actually jump into that moment, it's not all that bad. And my body can learn to adapt. I can learn to adapt and I start to get better at it. But it's kind of just like with everything in life. Like whenever I find myself doing something new, I embrace the intensity, I embrace the unknown because I haven't fully adapted to it. But once you start to get in that flow state, you really start to thrive and you really start to shine.
Ooh, I love the word thrive. Yeah, sweet. Thank you. Yeah. Who else would like to? Yeah, thanks. Oh, right there. Sorry.
When I was like thinking of South, like a big thing I was thinking about was I feel like a lot of times like society makes everything like seem like cringe and then, like embarrassing, which is why I feel like a lot of people like don't go out of their way to like do a lot of things because you're thinking, oh, like somebody's watching, somebody's gonna say something again, like everybody thinks like this is embarrassing when like I don't know why you have that mentality because I feel like once you get over that hurdle, then it's like I don't know, I just feel like you just do it. And whether people are watching or not, like I don't think it's that big of a deal. And that's something I'm working on. Like when I'm out in public and it's like, oh, like what are people gonna say? But it's like you're not living for other people, like you're living for yourself. So you should just do what you want to do at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I language is really powerful in that situation. I am doing what I want. Um, yeah, to fully thrive, to be me. Anyone else like to speak to this? Anyone over in this section? Oh, there's somebody behind you. Hi.
I feel like me personally, I've been experimenting more, saying yes to things and accepting new challenges. Like this past summer, I went like my friends have always been like pretty adventurous, but I always kind of just like would say no and I'd be like too scared to go. But my friends wanted to go cliff jumping in this mine hole like that we were going to and I was like kind of sounded like a suspicious situation. But I said yes and I went and I was so nervous to jump off the cliff. Like, I don't think I'd ever felt fear like that in my life. But like, I mean, I'm a TA now, so like I took by side and I was like, this is something like this is an opportunity to say yes and do something that I'd never do. And I finally jumped and it was just such like a good feeling and I've never like I felt that ecstasy, like I felt true joy and I really felt alive in that moment. So it kind of taught me that like saying yes to things is like something I need to try more. I feel like I spend a lot of time in the north and I feel like opening myself up to the south has made me feel more alive.
Thank you. Beautiful. Anybody, any other comments about the South? Okay. Oh,
I have a question.
yeah.
Think and be like more of yourself, or like there's a degree of being yourself, even when you're on your own, like literally by yourself.
Well, when are you by yourself? I mean,
Like if you're on a walk outside,
mm-hmm.
you're like forest and alone.
Yeah.
Are there ways that you can be more of yourself in that scenario?
Are there, his question is, are there ways, if you are truly alone, are there ways to be more fully yourself when you have that opportunity? So if you're out in the forest walking, I think for me, it depends on what the definition of alone is. Because when I am walking in the forest, all of the other things that are like the trees that make up that forest, I don't feel alone. And so is it more capacity, right? I'm surrounded by other beings, other footprints of other beings are there in that same snow that I'm walking in. And then how could I show up more fully as me in that example? Maybe that's a really beautiful question. Do you want to? Let me give you my mic.
I was gonna say that I feel like in response to his question, you can feel just as alone or even more alone when you're with a group of people that don't make you feel comfortable. Or even if you are with people that make you so comfortable that you feel like you can truly be yourself. They're like you're able to feel alone physically and like connection wise if you're not with people who like encourage you to be yourself. And when you're out in nature or somewhere where you're physically alone, you have the choice to do something that represents yourself truly or to like continue performing even though there's no one there.
I think it's a fun thing to experiment with, right? As scientists, as humans, we have the opportunity to open to trying new things and experimenting in those ways that what does make me feel truly alive? Is it to walk through that forest singing out loud? Or is it to be like sneaking up or pretending that I'm a fox or like doing playful things that really feel authentic to me. So it's fun to think about what that means, how we show up. So I want to show you this. Nope. Will you advance the slide? Thank you. So we're going to move to the east, this place of questioning and awakening and seeing with new eyes. So do it again for me, Morgan. Thank you. So you see the green couch under these beautiful beings. That green couch I adopted when I was in college. I lived on the 4th floor of this very historic dorm, and the person before me had this couch, and it fit perfectly in the room. It was great. So when she moved out and I became the RA on that floor, she offered me the couch. I bought it from her. And then my dad and I hauled this couch, weighed a freaking ton, up 4 flights of stairs, back and forth for the last 2 years that I lived in that building. And this is now in the window of my kitchen at home, or it was. This is my grandpa and his first meeting with his dog, Bee. And that green couch became just such a staple of my household. We sat on it. I nursed my kids on it. It was the best couch to nap on. And eventually, though, all of those animals and kids and the couch got really gross over time, as couches do. And so, after about 25 years of owning that couch, I disassembled it and here are some of the springs from that couch that I use as some decoration now. Here's the green velvet of the couch that I've remade things out of. different pieces of it. And then this is the fabulous like cushioning part of it in there. And you can see that it's been upcycled. It's all this kind of interesting fabrics and materials stuck together to be part of that couch. And so I took that couch apart. And this today is an analogy for us. What is it? What are the ideas that you are taking apart? What are the parts of you that feel like they're coming unraveled a little bit? And you're putting them, sort of sorting them out in your mind. It might be happening through your journal. It might be happening in these experiments that you're doing. So what is it that you are taking apart? What are you awakening to? What are you questioning? What is that east part of you that has that has sort of your energy invested, right? To disassemble a couch takes a lot of energy, but to disassemble our beliefs and ideas and ways of being and ways of thinking and ways of knowing, that takes a lot of energy. And so I'm curious about, thank you. What are you taking apart right now? Talk to your neighbor about that.
In my closet, I realized I got a bunch of clothes the other day that I ordered online for spring break. And I was trying to put them away, so it's just like not in this boxes and bags. And my none of my drawers closed. They weren't closing before, but now it's like overflowing. And I'm like, I need to bring this stuff home. Stuff needs to go. Yeah. We'll find a place to wear it.
Out like one time.
Yeah, never wear it again. Like,
Who would like to speak about this? What are you taking apart?
I would say that I'm taking apart myself in a way. I take the morality class, and I think a lot of the things that he proposes to us makes me think to myself, am I moral? Am I immoral? Is what I'm doing incorrect, or is it good or not? I also like to keep people in my life who I think challenge my beliefs sometimes. Like if I do something or say something that isn't necessarily smiled upon, I'll think to myself, maybe I should reflect on that, do some internal work and,
Take it apart.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah. Thank you for speaking to that. Cool that you're taking those things together. That's fun. Yeah.
I feel like I've been taking apart my stress a lot recently. Like I feel like I'm always stressed, even if I have nothing to really stress about. So I've been trying to reflect on why I'm so stressed and like why I run at such high anxiety, even though like I know I have everything figured out.
Great question. Really important. Priyanka, there's somebody right. Yeah. Thank you.
I feel like I'm trying to take apart, it's a touchy subject, but like how I think of religion in my life. I don't know if I would call myself a Christian. I don't really know what that means anymore, but I believe in God. Um, and I don't know, I just been thinking about like whether or not I believe the Bible is infallible and stuff like that. If I believe in like the words that I know men wrote rather than, the God I believe in.
Yeah. Thank you for saying so. And I think that the wrestling of these things that we take apart are so much more valuable to us than when we settle on or when we choose the beliefs, right, that fit the way that we move through the world. So I think there's a lot of value in this wrestling that we're doing. Is there anybody else who would like to speak about taking apart? 1 second.
I feel like being up at college has made me like really change my viewpoint on the world and the political landscape of it. I grew up in a pretty like rural area with very like few people, and then coming to Penn State, I get to talk to people from all over the world and get to hear about their experiences. And then it kind of shifts my viewpoint about like what my parents, my brother might say about politics. And then in the back of my mind, I think differently because I hear from so many other people like how everything's affecting them rather than, them living in their small bubble back at home.
Yeah, right. This is an opportunity. What a beautiful opportunity to learn from and hear stories from. There's one more person up here, Priyanka, that would like to speak to this. Come straight up and around in front of me. Oh, sorry. Go. Okay, we'll still be coming.
I feel like coming to college and, being alone and separated from like the home that you grew up in, for the first 18 years of our lives, you remove a lot of the influence of like what path you want to take going forward. And I've been trying to take that apart. Like, what do I really want? Like setting aside the outside influences telling me what I've should be wanting, like out of my future. So yeah, I'm trying to take that apart.
Yeah. What does your future, what does the future look like? Will you come up and he's right here. Thank you.
I'd say right now I'm taking apart my identity because there's a lot of things that are shifting, going to adult life more like with jobs. And I just feel like I'm learning to be more appreciative of the present moment. And whenever I'm alone, indulge in that aloneness because I know I'm not alone because I have myself, my thoughts, and grow from that basically.
Yeah, lovely. So taking all this stuff apart, will you click for me? Thanks. Moves us into the West, the idea of transformation and integration and discovery. So essentially putting those things back together again. Will you click? So underneath these three beautiful beings, one more time. In the background, you can see that wooden platform that came out of the couch, the green couch. It became something else that was very useful. So not just some decorations and, there's the fabric I can make things with. There's this platform that serves as kind of an everything space in my kitchen. And then that had to evolve. And so now the space looks like this, right? Something very different. And so as you're putting these pieces back together again, resorting, reorganizing, putting things where they fit in your life for you, making sure that you're balancing all of these pieces and integrating and evolving and transforming and discovering. So, this question follows then, what is it that you're putting together? What feels like it's coming together for you, not without work? Things don't just happen. Things, you've put effort and energy into it and acknowledging that. So talk for just a moment about what's coming together. What are you putting together that's working out beautifully for you?
I'll do like so well for 2 months. And so what happened? And I take like 50 steps back and like right before like I'm probably like building myself right now and then relationships right now. So yeah, like definitely doing that. Right now. What do you guys bring together? Far from here. No. How about you guys? What are you guys putting together?
Some Legos, you know.
A puzzle. Okay, that's great. Are you putting together what how you feel about the eco meal?
What?
Are you putting together how you feel about the eco meal?
Yeah, I already put it together.
You just don't know?
Wait, did he say
Okay.
doesn't know?
Wait, did he bring it? I don't
He's
know.
happy. Yeah.
Okay, he just
There's
doesn't know.
people who said no.
Yeah,
Understand
no,
that.
that's great. Yeah,
That
yeah.
grade.
So what you're putting together? Where's Priyanka? We have 1 minute. There are 2 people in the back and then we'll move on. So hang tight for us just a moment while they speak.
I feel like I took on a lot of like new leadership roles this year, and the biggest like projects of them are all kind of culminating like right now and like this month. And it's just not something I'm used to because I'm used to things kind of just coming together and coming to a conclusion. But this time I'm the one who has to like put all the pieces together. But so far it's been like a really rewarding experience. And even though it's been stressing me out, I've really enjoyed doing it. But yeah.
Excellent. So the space where we can expand ourselves is that growth space. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that as a college senior who's going to be graduating, it feels like I'm coming to a point in my life where I get to finally put that life together for myself. And that's just been really rewarding.
So rewarding, so many things. So thinking about all those directions and how they fit you, how they fit our culture. And with that, I send you into the world. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.